If you like this podcast or the previous ones, please consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Frankie'sPod. It just goes to help fund the software and the hosting. Hi, welcome back to the podcast. Tonight I'm talking to Mark Cundy. Mark served with the QRH. Sod it, I will attempt it. Queen's Royal Hussars. Yeah. I got that out. I think I said it right. Hey Mark, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Cheers, Frankie. You?
Yeah, I'm brilliant. Again, as I said to everyone, thanks for coming on the show. On the show, I don't like calling it a show, it's just a podcast. But thanks for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. Without you coming on, I can't do it. So it's the same for you as what I ask everybody else. Just the 5 questions of where did you grow up? Why did you join the army? What was it like? Why did you leave? And what have you done since? So if you just want to tell us what it was like where you were growing up, where you grew up, and why did you join the military?
Yes, I grew up in a little market town called Ashbourne, which is in Derbyshire, surrounded by the great outdoors, which I had no interest in growing up at all. Like I say, really sleepy town. Lot of houses, a lot of building sites around growing up. A lot of housing estates getting built. With a lot of greenfields around us. So I spent most of my childhood breaking into building sites, getting into wasn't bad lad, just mischievous, just a bored young teenager.
It's just normal shit.
Yeah, just normal shit, yeah. Jumping fences, doing enough to attract the attention of the local neighbours who bring the police, which would then get us the police chase we craved. Yeah, pretty normal. Played a lot of football growing up. What else did we get up to, really? All sorts of sport. Football, cricket.
I mean, just go back to something you said there about, like I said, yeah, just normal shit. And it is normal shit. We look at, I go on the streets now, and I go on the streets. I see kids knocking about in the streets on the night time. And I think, oh, fucking hell, what are they up to? This, that. And you get used to, like, the papers, the media and stuff like that saying, kids roaming the streets causing no good. It's no different than what we used to do.
No, not at all.
We used to sit in a bus shelter at the bottom of a cemetery for hours on the night. And, you didn't appreciate that some old guy who was walking past was probably a bit scared.
Yeah.
Because there's this gang of, like, 14 to 16-year-olds just hanging about. And we weren't meaning anything wrong. And the kids that are doing that now aren't really meaning anything wrong. I'm not saying there isn't problems, because there is. There's issues with knife crime and stuff like that. But it's not really much different, now to what we did. Kids are bored, and it's always going to be that way. It's just, like you said, just mischievousness.
Yeah. And then, one time I wasn't quite quick enough, and the old Bill gave me my first ride in a police car. Took me home to a very unimpressed mother and stepfather. And that was for playing football in the streets. That one was. So, of all the things I did, I was kicking a football over somebody's wall, jumping the wall. He was very proud of his guard and wasn't too happy about his jumping over the walls. Took us home. I remember my mum giving me a massive round of forks, and I'd have been 15. So work-wise, I was obviously still at school, but I was working at the local chip shop, peeling potatoes, which kept me out of trouble for a bit. I was on decent money in comparison to my friends that were doing paper rounds. I was taking about 60 quid a week home cash, and I thought I was a millionaire. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Bloody brilliant. Best job I've ever had by a mile. And then I just got to, I was like, what do I want to do with life? Obviously, there's a lot of career advice going on at the time, and drawn. I remember going to the sports hall, and there was a police there who I'd not had a great relationship with, as a minor, and it didn't get much better later on in life, which we'll probably get onto. And then I bumped into the army desk. I'd walk around with the college desks and saw plumbing and electrician and stuff like that, and I just knew it wasn't appealing to me. Then I got to these guys in the old style DPM, 95s, wasn't it? It used to be called. And he was a guardsman. The sergeant was a guardsman, and I've always been fairly tall. I'll be about 6'1" at the time, at 15, 16. I've not grown much since. And he looked me up and down, and he just says, "Grenadier Guards, definite." And I didn't know what the Grenadier Guards were. I had no fucking idea. Anyway, we got talking, and he goes, "What sports do you play, mate?" I says, "Oh, football, cricket." And he goes, "You will never be in combat, ever." He goes, "Cricket?" He's like, "You'll be in Australia by the end of next year." I was like, "Fuck me, this sounds amazing." I was like, "Get me signed up." And he goes, "Sorry, that was a cricket." And then he's like, "Football?" He's like, "You always be in the States and all that." I was like, "Fuck me, America." Like, I grew up without a pot's pissing, really. Like, the thought of ever going to America, it was like, fuck me. And then obviously, like I said, Australia, to go and play cricket. I was like, this sounds amazing. So went home, said to me, I want to join the army. Not a massive military background in my family. My dad's stepbrother was in. But other than that, that was about it. They were quite supportive of it. It was probably a way to get me out of the house, stop causing tomfoolery and just, like I say, just minor shit. And they could probably see I was getting in with the wrong crowds and heading the wrong way. So I went to the Derby Careers office, as that was the closest, and did my barb test. And the choices were the REME, the engineers, and I think the signals. So none of them were the QRH. So I ended up being cat badged REME. So yeah, that's sort of where that took me. In terms of other parts of my childhood, which probably did transpire in the end to mental health battles, which later I did end up pursuing, fighting, and almost consuming me on two occasions. But mum, stepdad, two half brothers. Two half brothers I see as my full brothers, and my stepdad I've he's always been there, so I always called him dad. But it could be quite violent at times, childhood. Like, punishment was always physical. Thrashing.
And that was for all 3 years, not just you?
Mainly me. And I look back and I think it was the stepchild that was a pain in the arse. But I look back now as a parent and think, I've never ever laid my hands on my daughter or my two stepsons. And that is from my childhood. I remember sort of like cowering into my bedroom, just trying to escape the physical punishment. In terms of my genetic father, I've not seen him since probably the age of 8, 9. Last I heard, he was in the Stoke-on-Trent region. I've got no real desire to find him. Again, having my own.
I could totally understand that.
Yeah.
My ex-wife was the same. Her father didn't have really nothing to do with him, and she didn't want to have anything to do with him. And you kind of get it. I was lucky that I grew up in quite a happy family, or I thought it was, until I interviewed my brother on a podcast and realised fucking hell it wasn't. No. I just didn't see it all because I was too young. You know what I mean? So quite good, quite glad for that. Yeah. So you joined the REME then. What year was that then?
2006.
So, well, did you turned up for training and all that? You probably weren't expecting what it was going to be like, because with not having a military background and stuff.
No. So I turned up at ATR Basenbourne, 7th of September 2006, Cat Badge Remake. I walked through the gate. I wasn't an overly confident kid at all because of like the disciplinary incidents as a child. I mean, my teachers would tell you different. They'd be like, he's a gobby little shit. He's always in trouble. But home life was completely different. I was like petrified of my stepdad, petrified of my mum as well. You know, there'd be physical beatings from both of them. So yeah, I turned up to the army, and I was fucking shit scared. We had my section commander at the time was an MP, and you know, again, I knew nothing about the army, nothing at all. I just knew that nobody liked MPs, really. And you'd hear like the other junior NCOs talking about it. One was a engineer, 5'9" engineer, who was a really fucking good guy. I still like to speak to occasionally on social media. Then I got a Welsh Guard section commander then, who again was a really good guy. Took no fucking shit. Don't get me wrong. When I was bulling boots for the first time, fuck me, you can imagine the standard he expected. And my standard was never up to it. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say I was fucking amazing in basic training. I was shit, absolutely shit. Because I just a rabbit in the headlights. I was fucking petrified. I was scared. I spent the whole 5 months just fucking scared, just in a man's world that I wasn't used to. You know, I remember going for a shave one morning, and the lad next to me, he was from Glasgow. Obviously, both had the tops off, and he had this great big scar. And I said, did you have your appendix out as a kid? He's like, oh no, I got stabbed at school. And I was just like, fuck me. Like,
I was like,
my childhood was fucking so different to that.
It was. I had a similar thing. The guy I was in training with, you know, we rocked up. I joined at 16, so straight into junior leaders.
Yeah.
And you know, there was a guy there in our troop, and he was fucking full of tattoos. And I'm like, how's he got? It turned out his fucking dad was a tattoo artist, and he tattooed himself. But it was just so, you know, I grew up in just like my own little bubble, and I didn't. All of a sudden, there's all these other people from around the country, different accents. You know, like, the fuck's he talking? What's he saying? You know, especially like someone from Glasgow and that. You just like all these different people from around the country, and so I was so out of my comfort zone that I didn't know anyone. You know, you just like, what's going on? So I mean, I wouldn't say I was scared, like, but I was deep inside. I was. I know where you're coming from with that. I really do.
Yeah. So yeah, basic training. I just hung in there. I just, you know, I know I wasn't the best recruit at all. Far from it. Yeah. I just had a knack of staying in there, and I look through life, and it's probably just in me, just to keep chipping away. Like just keep chipping away, and eventually you'll get where you need to be. Well, I mean, we had one of the NCOs I would call a bully. I remember him fucking like booting me up the stairs. He was from Nottingham, and because I was from Derbyshire, football. Well, I didn't even support Derby County. I support Chesterfield, and because I was from Derby, he thought I was a Derby County fan, and I remember him kicking me that hard up the arse to the point I was like, "That's not even like fucking playing." Like he meant that, and like punched me in the back, and I was just like, "What a fucking prick this guy is." But then he did it to somebody else. Well, he did it to quite a few recruits. But one of the recruits, their dad was the RSM in one of the Scots regiments.
Oops.
Yeah, and this lad had let it slip to his dad what had happened, and he wasn't a training screw for much longer.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard lots of bad stories about training, and again, going back to my training, I was really lucky that I had some fantastic troop sergeants, absolutely brilliant guys. And then there was none of that in our troop at all. We heard about it happening in other troops, but again, it's just Chinese whispers, so you don't know if it happened or not. Yeah. But I was speaking to guys who joined in the, you know, in the 70s, very different to when I joined in the 80s, and we always say, it was all, my training was harder than your training.
Yeah.
And he'll say, my training was harder than your training, and we'll all say, our training's harder than what they get now. It isn't, it's just different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Physically wise and punishment wise, I think it is different.
Yeah.
Whether that's a right or wrong thing, it's not my decision to make, and I haven't made a decision on that yet.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things. Things change. Whether it's right or wrong or not, I don't know.
Yeah. So then got to the end of training. 20 weeks the junior training back then.
Yeah.
But you could either go to Harrogate for
Yeah.
52 weeks or Bassingbourne was 20 weeks. And I chose Bassingbourne. I didn't want to be in depot any longer than I had to be. So then was sent to Borden to train to be a vehicle mechanic. And as soon as I got to Borden, within a couple of weeks, I said, "This is not for me. I do not want to be here." I'm just wasn't interested in what they were showing me. I just knew it wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't for me. So I requested to see the CMO. I didn't really know the process. I was like, I want to transfer. I don't want to be cat badgering me anymore. And they said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I didn't even really know. I had no idea. And I remembering in the careers office seeing like Challenger 2s bombing about and stuff. And I was like, yeah, Challenger 2s, that's what I want to do. I want to be in the tanks. Didn't realise that there was different regiments of the main battle tank units. And I certainly didn't realise there was reconnaissance regiments in the cavalry.
Yeah.
It was like you need to go and find your local cavalry regiment, which was the 912th Lancers, which were I think just the Royal Lancers now, amalgamated with the Queen's Royal Lancers. And I didn't want to be CVRT. I didn't want to be Recce. I wanted to be main battle tank. I wanted to be Challenger 2. So then I was like looking at the boundary lines, and I was like, well, quick QRH or West Midlands, I'm East Midlands. Fuck it, I'll go for that one. And that's literally how I ended up in the QRH. So yeah, then went to Bovington, transferred down to Bovington to start my training down there to become a Challenger 2 crewman. I had to do my driving first. I was still 16, so I had to wait to tick over to 17. A lot of bullshit mat training whilst I was waiting. Then I went on to my gunnery course. I did gunnery before driver training.
That's quite unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, I think now it's like a pretty 50-50 split, or the regiment requests, we need so many gunners, so many drivers, etc. So I went down to Lulworth and did my gunnery course down there. Again, wasn't the best recruit, just kept chipping away, just hung in there, did enough, or did what I had to do really to get through. And managed to do that. And then was sent to my regiment, Queen's Royal Hussars, in Senelager. Again, arriving in Germany at 17. Just a fucking rabbit in the headlights.
Yeah, very, very different to Ashbourne.
Very different to Ashbourne. Nights out were very different. Some of the places you could end up on the piss were very different as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, everyone of a certain age will know Senelager, will know the strip.
Senelager strip, and again, like I say, just a completely different world to anything I'd ever seen at all.
I mean, especially like that age, the beer is so cheap, fags are cheap, tax-free cars, whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you said, all of a sudden you're like, wow, it's great. But the big eye opener, really, I think, is fuck me. I'm with real men now. You to your regiment,
and
it's different again. And I rocked up at mine thinking, I've done a year's training, I've done this, I've done that. When I rock up at my regiment and all that, and I was just, what the fuck, and it started all over again. You were just bottom of the rung again.
And I think, even when the lads talk, that have gone on and done SF selection and stuff like that, they think when they've been badged and they're like, fucking hell, the dog's bollocks, and they get to Hereford or Poole or wherever they go to, and then they're the bottom of the pile as well. And it's just the army's just a vicious circle that you get to the top of your tree, you get chucked into another tree, and you're fucking at the bottom. You got to start climbing again. And whether it's promoting from trooper to lance corporal, it's just fucking a vicious circle of right. You're the top of that one. Right, get to the bottom of this one. And it's like, fucking, I'll start again.
So how did you get tripped by the other guys when you first got there then?
Yeah, again, I was just dead quiet. Just didn't really say a lot at first. Intimidated by the big city lads from Birmingham. A lot of lads from Northern Ireland, a lot of Belfast lads that would have, I was born in 1990, so I got to regiment 2007, so a lot of the senior lad, the full screws and that would have been growing up sort of late 70s, 80s, Belfast, that were fucking rough as well. I'd never even met anyone from Northern Ireland at the time. But I remember the Northern Irish lads turning up and some of the interrogations they got, like what state you're from, what school did you go to, what's your background, what's your mum's surname, what's your dad's surname, just like this interrogation. And I remember one being from the Ardoyne and just getting an absolute grilling. I was like, I don't even know what the fucking Ardoyne is. Like, what is it? Oh, it's a Catholic estate. And you're like, fucking hell, like, what? What's that matter? Like, oblivious to it all.
Yeah, fucking hell. I mean, you'd hope it wouldn't happen, but, it fucking does.
I think it's a lot better now. It's a lot better.
I don't think it's any of it now, really. I mean, I'm thinking of going back over there next year. I'm thinking of doing 2 trips next year. One to Bosnia and one to Northern Ireland, just to put the ghost to bed. You know what I mean? So I don't think I'm going to get a day trip out of fucking Basra. I don't think I'm going to fit that one in anyway. So I don't think I'd want to either. Although you never know. Nice now.
Yeah, I've been to Northern Ireland a couple of times. I never served in Northern Ireland, so I don't have the angle of Operation Banner. But I've been over a few times to watch motorbike racing, like the road racing over there, and it's a fucking amazing place. I love it. Really interesting place, and welcoming as well. Like, all right, there's areas that I'm wise enough to not enter. Even with my background, even though I'd never served over there, I just know these areas. Talking to the Northern Irish lads, just stay away from there. Ain't worth going down there.
You kind of, even though you're not in it, you can still kind of stand out a bit. Type of thing. Yeah,
definitely.
So, what was it like then serving with the regiment once you got there? What was the next move for you?
So I went straight on to Tank Rangers. Again, rude awakening. You're just the new guy. Nobody really speaks to you. Or a sprog, as you were called.
Yeah.
Back then.
That guy I was on about, he was a QRH, but it was somebody else I've just interviewed recently. It was QRH. He was on fire support teams. A guy called Gareth Thomas.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. He's on TikTok. That's how I found him. He's Gareth cycling through cancer. He's got fucking stage 4 blood cancer, lymphoma shit. Lovely bloke. Honestly, lovely bloke. Turned out we'd been working on a load of the FST teams with guys in the artillery who I knew. And I'm like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
How do you know him? He just mentioned a name and I was like, how do you know him?
Gee.
No, but lovely guy. So, I mean, so you're the third. So
yeah.
Fucking hell. I'll have to get a fucking regimental tie. Right, so start again at 25:05. I'll just do a clap. Because when I flick back through it, I'll know where to cut. Right, okay, so we'll go back from you're just going on to the Rangers. So yeah, you went on to the Rangers as a gunner. You said you found that a little bit hard.
Just again, you're the young lad. Nobody really fucking speaks to you. Any shit jobs come. I'm not moaning about it. It's just a vicious circle. All the shit jobs come, you fucking get them. And I just wasn't really homesick. I just didn't really, with it being a locally recruited regiment.
Yeah.
The lads coming from Bovington with me had things in common with lads in the regiment. So, whereabouts in Birmingham you're from? And, do you know such and such, such and such? And, I didn't even support Aston Villa or Birmingham. So I was just like, no use to any of them. It's like, who the fuck is Chesterfield? And it's, just ended up feeling like a bit lonely. And then you suddenly start making friends and, you just, I don't know, it just kept me head down.
I get what you're saying. It's the same thing. It's the same thing for everyone if they join the regiment.
Yeah.
You join the regiment, you're the sprog and fucking lowest to the low, and you're the guy fucking making all the brews, doing all the naffy runs and shit like that. And you're just waiting for the next fucking guy to come from training.
Fucking
and it's his turn. You're just like, fuck for that. Then someone else turns up, you're like, oh, fuck for that. When I got through onto I was doing a different job. I was a clerk, and I was a shit clerk. Like I really was. And I got sacked and moved to a gun battery and thrown on a gun with the biggest, hardest, fucking scariest ex-commando going. And I'm like, fucking hell. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I loved it. It was great. Because I found me level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fucking being a bit of a beast and an animal type of thing, I won't go into it too much. I don't want to incriminate myself too much. But yeah, there was a lot of that. But you're right. The guys turned up at the regiment as a young sprog and Nig, or whatever you want to call them, and you are. What the fuck? Why are they always picking on me? Why are they having a go at me? Why am I doing this? Then all of a sudden that stops because it's somebody else now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's your turn to do it to them, but fucking hell,
Yeah, what goes round comes round. So I sort of like started settling in. Was D Squadron, and then we went to Batterston. Flew out to Canada. Had my 18th birthday out there. Didn't mean fuck all because the drinking age was 21. But I did manage to get into one of the strip clubs. I remember that. I think it was owned by the Doll's House. I don't know if the Doll's House.
No, I never don't know what you're on about.
No.
Never. Don't know what you're on about. I think it used to be called Cheaters at one point.
I think it was owned by bikers, wasn't it? Maybe I was Angels, I think. Being in there
again, I have no idea what you're on about. Yeah, they're all shut down now anyway. So
are they?
Yeah, no. From what I gathered, because I interviewed one of my mates who lives out there.
Yeah.
Battersea shut now anyway. So
yeah.
That's fucking what.
I know.
But Medak got a new mayor or mayoress, and just went right. That's it. No more. It's all them strip jumps and all that. They all got shut. Sin bins closed.
I saw the sin bin shut. I saw the sin bin shut on Facebook. I was like, what?
I mean, that's probably not a bad thing, to be honest. But again, places like that were a rite of passage for young lads.
Yeah. It was one of the only places I could get served at the first time I went to Batter, sin bin.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that must have been great in the tanks.
Oh, fucking amazing. Absolutely unbelievable. You can't believe it's happening. Like, you're bombing around in a Charlie 2, and then you're fucking firing live ammo off, and you think, fuck me, this is unbelievable. Like, my mates are still fucking back home doing, like, joinery apprenticeships. I mean, who's laughing now? They're probably on about 220 quid a day, I'm all the time. I was like, I'm fucking firing a Challenger 2 across the prairie. Like, this is fucking insane. Like, it's like 14 grand for a Finran. You're like, there goes a fucking Ford Focus. Like, bang.
I've never thought of it that way, to be honest. Yeah, you're right.
And my driver was fucking one of the hardest lads in the regiment. And fuck me. Like, luckily, we ended up cracking. And then he was from Northumberland, or was it Cumbria, that way? Might have been Northumberland, I'm sure it was. Like, come and have a fucking wrestle with me. And fuck me, it was hard as fuck. But I got to a point where I was like giving him a fair wrestling, like, you're alright, you are. I like you. And like, fuck that. But I like played fighting with him once, and I'd managed to like sort of flip him onto his back, and I was just about going on top. and he pulled me in close and he fucking bit the top of my ear. To the point I was like, if he bites anymore, he's actually going to bite my ear off. Like, fuck it. But in his head, he's playing. Like, he was just having a laugh. Like, fuck, you don't understand how fucking strong you are.
Yeah.
But,
No, I've met a few lads like that. We used to do it on fucking. I can't believe I want to tell this one. So if we were on exercise at Otterburn, you'd have the guns on the gun positions, right? And there's lots of like feeding troughs. They were like big circle things. You know, they put all the hay in, the cows would all come and stand round them in a circle. And there was them all over the gun position. So in between fire missions, and you know what it's like in the UK when you're doing live fire, and you've only got a handful of rounds, haven't you? You haven't got many. So there's a lot of downtime. So in between fire missions, we'd be bored and you'd be fucking pissing about, like you're saying, you know, the fun fighting, the wrestling and stuff like that. And we went through this stage of like, we started kidney punching each other for some reason. You know, fucking stupid thing to do, but it seemed right at the time. To stop it, they said, right, we'll have a crew fights. We were like, what do you mean? And so these big hay bale, or these like big pen things, would say like, A sub, send your champion, B, and it was coming over the tannoy from the command post. A sub, send your champion, B sub, send, and they'd come over, and they'd just throw two lads in and just knock shit out of each other. You know, none of it was malicious or anything like that. It was just fun.
Yeah.
You know, you're coming out like your fucking face all smashed up and that. You're like, oh, I enjoyed that. It was a good laugh.
Yeah.
But it's bonding. It's a weird way of bonding, but it is bonding.
On tank ranges in Germany, I remember up at Hona, again, the fuck's a wild boar? I have no idea what a wild boar. But the lads used to chuck fucking apple cores, and I'd see all the Lance Jacks and like fucking chucking apple cores. What the fuck are they doing? And we used to have to do a prowler stag around the chalets. And anyway, all the horror stories would start about wild boars. And fucking next thing you'd hear a scream. Like, middle of the night, you'd hear a scream as one of the lads had bumped into a wild boar that was foraging for an apple core. And you'd hear the scream, you'd shine your torch out, and the lad would be like hanging off the fucking back decks of a tank. And like, it's a fucking wild boar. But again, it's just bonding, just laughing like you shit yourself and all that shit. And then when I become a Lance Jack, I do the same, chuck fucking apple cores out. And then I'll be the one telling the stories like, oh, wild boars, you want to stay away from them. And you bump into one of them.
So where we use that? We use at Fallenbostel?
No, it was at Senelog, which is by Paderborn.
Yeah. I thought you know, was saying up at Hona.
Yeah,
I served in Hona for quite a long time.
Yeah. We just use the tank ranges up at Hona.
Yeah, fucking weird place. Why do we always have to go there in the fucking winter?
Oh, it'd be fucking freezing as well. It'd be
the fucking Germans would be bombing about. The Germans and the Dutch would be bombing about in the summer.
Yeah.
And we don't get to go on the ranges until it was fucking cold. I got told it was because I asked that question once, and I got told it was because it was cheaper.
Probably.
And probably, yeah. You know, it wouldn't shock us at all. I mean, years ago we used to have Saltow as well, which was like one of the a really big tank area.
Mm-hmm.
They had to stop using it because there was no topsoil left.
Really?
It was fucking bad. You know, they had decontaminated and everything. Up on your way to Munster, it was like it was a Trowen camp, I think it was called. Whoever, if people are listening to this, leave something in the comments to confirm that. It was quite a while. This was like the late 80s that we were up there, and it was I wouldn't say it was barren, but there wasn't. I mean, in them days we didn't have camp poles. You go and exercise, and you'd get camp poles.
Yeah.
You just go and chop a tree down and make camp poles out of the tree. Cut the branches off and stuff like that. Fuck, I wouldn't get away with that now.
Nah.
But we used to drive into the woods. You go into a hide. We had like 105 Abbots, and you just reverse into a fucking tree line. The toss what was there. If there any trees are out, you just fucking run them over. And that was the way it was done. Going into you'd rock up in a hide. I remember my first time on exercise, rocking up in a hide. So we reversed into this wood, and I'm thinking, what's happening now? And all of a sudden, like, everything went quiet, and all you could hear was chink, 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 and fuck, what's going on here? All the yellow handbags getting pulled out.
Yeah.
So we're not doing that till tomorrow morning. We're on a piss now. I was like, is this the army? Yeah, it's fucking great, this.
Yeah.
No, it's some changed. Bastards.
That's what we used to do in Batters, like hard fucking bottles of Baileys and bottles of whiskey, where we used to store all the tank shells and stuff, and fit perfect bottle in there. So yeah, did Batters, still with D Squadron, sort of settled in then. People actually spoke to me, didn't just ignore me. Played a bit of football, then got all batted for Iraq.
Right.
Staying in D Squadron, so started the Octag training for Telic 13. So yeah, did all that. Again, I was accepted then. By the time Telic had come round, I'd been in the regiment probably 10 months, something like that. Still a sprog, but
not V-Sprog.
Yeah, I got an identity. They give me a nickname and all that. And
yeah, it's like that's like another rite of passage, isn't it? So you all of a sudden get a nickname.
Yeah. So
that's it for life, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's still people now that they're like, I didn't know your real name was Mark, and so I was called Ted after Ted Bundy. Again, some people are fucking disgusted that my nickname is Ted Bundy after the fucking serial killer and rapist and murderer and fucking whatever else he was.
You've got a lot to live up to.
Oh God, yeah. And all it come from was one of the Brummer lads was like, Mark Cundy, Ted Bundy, and that was it. It was just Ted. That's what I was called, Ted, and that's literally how the name stuck. And if you fight it, you get called it more. And it's just who I was then. It's part of my identity now. I still answer to it.
I mean, it'll stick with you forever. Fucking hell, my name's Andrew.
Yeah,
not Frank. You know what I mean? It's like somebody called me up one day, like, "Oh, you like fucking Frankenstein's monster, Frankie?" And I was like, "The monster wasn't called Frankenstein. His name was Adam." And that was lost on them, and that was it. That was it. From then on, Frankie. And even now, I'm 56 years old, and if somebody calls me Andrew, I'm like, what? Even at civvy work, people call me Frankie. You know, I can't handle being called my name anymore.
No. I mean, some people call me Ted, some people call me Mark. I have learned to answer to both again now. Part of becoming decompression back into a civvy is answer to your fucking birth name again.
I don't think I'm there yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So training for Telic then? Did you just go out with tanks or were you on foot?
We were on foot.
Right.
We had Mastiffs. So I've deployed twice and never seen a fucking Challenger 2 once. It's fucking the way.
Fair enough.
Went to Iraq. We were in an old police station in the middle of the city. Called Thorala, it was called. Showering out fucking war, but we didn't have any perks. There wasn't a lot going on. Iraq was really quieting down.
So that police station used to be a bit naughty.
Did it?
I remember, yeah. There was a few incidents in there. The last tour I did was 2006. Right. And I moved from the regiment over to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite, I wouldn't say it was bad. I mean, it was quite naughty. But you're right, Iraq quieted down a hell of a lot towards the end of it. And I'm lucky the last tour I did was in 2006. I was quite lucky that I never did another tour after that.
Yeah.
Thank God, because I didn't really want to do any more, to be honest.
Yeah, so like I say, not a lot happening. I had the odd brick truck tap me down the 5 mile market. Went into the cob a couple of times and got the odd RDF, but really, really quiet. Then it was quiet, which resulted in the tour being fucking bullshit. Because you know what the army gets like if people are bored. I've hands down, still say Iraq. My personal experience, this not everyone. My personal experience, Iraq was more difficult than Afghan. Probably mentally because of the bullshit we're having to put up with. We had a load of officers with us. We had the colonel, the 2IC, and they fucking did not want us sat around doing fuck all. So we were getting fucked over big time. And our troop sergeant was just in their back pocket. obviously looking at his next career, moving back to him, and everyone I speak to from the Iraq troop all say the same, like he was just fucking shit. He just got fucked over massively. Sort of ruined the experience, really. And I look back, well, when I started a lot of my counselling, sort of the depression side, which no doubt we'll get onto. Like I'm diagnosed with depression as well as PTSD. Iraq comes up a lot when I spoke about depression because it was just an unhappy time. Just because of how we're being treated, like it was treated worse than recruits by a fucking mile.
It's like you're saying that it's the boredom factor. You don't want to, I can understand what they're doing there. Don't want you fucking being bored, really, or you've got to keep them busy. But there is a lot of that, like what you said about your troop sergeant. We've got to make things look good. There's a reason we're here, even if we're not doing that reason. We've got to be finding something to do. Going back to the old days of like fucking hell, someone's coming visiting, they're going to paint the grass.
Oh,
It's always been like an army myth that people paint the grass and all that. Fucking, I've done it.
It fucking happens, yeah.
Happens. I've done that shit. I've painted grass because somebody was visiting, and it went nowhere near the grass. I was fucking right pissed off.
Kicking molehills down and breaking the molehill and picking up leaves in fucking October and November, and you're thinking, what the fuck am I doing this for? Sweeping helipads in the desert. That's another one. Fucking hell.
I must admit, I've never done that. That's fucking.
That's another one I've done. Yeah. Fucking unbelievable.
The best one we ever had. We had a football pitch, 5-side, and it was full of leaves, right? And somebody, I don't know who this genius was, but they were a genius. They got in touch with RAF Gutslow at the time, and they had Harriers, and they literally came down and landed a Harrier on the 5-side pitch. It wasn't like an AstroTurf; it was concrete. Yeah. And they said, "Can you come and land an Harrier on it?" And they were like, "Yeah, bit of training exercise," and they did, and it fucking cleared all the leaves. Everyone stood around fucking clapping and all. It was something for us to look at as well. It was just a training exercise, but we claimed that they'd done it just for the leaves, which and I'm still sticking to that. They did it for the leaves, not true. Wasn't a training, John.
No.
But sweeping a helipad. I suppose you've got to for foreign object devices. Was it FOB or FOG? I can't remember what they call it. Foreign object something or other. In case it gets in the engine or whatever.
Yeah.
But you never know.
I
mean, Iraq, like when we were there, it was quite busy and stuff like that. But I know what you mean about tours. I mean, I went out of the first Gulf and as a battle casualty replacement, and we, for the first month and a bit, we were just sat in the camp, literally doing fucking nothing. We were just sat there, training every day, and that just got monotonous. Just an NBC training. Didn't even get to go out on the ranges or anything like that. Just fucking sitting around. Then all of a sudden it kicked off, and by the time we got to do anything, it was over. And then we got sent into Kuwait City to guard the embassy. So we were just, as much as it was a good experience, and I'm really proud that I was there. I never got to see any frontline action or anything like that. You were just fucking staggering on, and there's been lots of that. Fucking hurry up and wait. You've got to keep the lads busy. But you've got to do it right as well. Because if you don't, like you found there, you end up mulling over a lot of stuff, and it affects you.
Well, we ended up running fucking mile and a half around a 50-metre fucking perimeter camp, and you think, what the fuck are we doing? I can't even remember how many laps it was. It was a ridiculous amount of laps. And I was like, this is fucking bullshit. And in the end, this quiet me disappeared, and I started like challenging authority and fucking getting myself in trouble. And I remember the 2-pip we had at the time is a massive prick. He's still in the regiment, so I can't say a great deal. But I remember one of the guys that I am really pally with, like good friends within the regiment. He became a warrant officer, and he was his squadron leader. And I remember saying to him, like, be fucking careful of him. Like, do not trust him. He said, oh no, he's changed, he's matured, he's a major now. So I'm fucking telling you, mate, he's a prick. And he ended up sacking him as his sergeant major, busting him back to staff sergeant. As I told you, guy's a knob. And he's like, yeah, I'm in full agreement with you now. He's a fucking arsehole. So yeah.
So what was after Iraq for you then?
Say again, Frankie. Sorry.
So what was after Iraq? Because it sounds like that was just a shit time for you, to be honest.
Yeah, shit time. Then the back end of the Iraq tour, we had to we extended and we did. We were moving like a lot of stuff to Kuwait, ready for the end of Operation Tell It, which was quite busy, to be fair. That was probably about the best bit of the tour, to be honest. Driving from Kuwait to Iraq, it was like 10-hour moves, and we had a bit of freedom. I was the snatch driver in it, so yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit more. Like,
what were the locals like with you then?
Sorry,
the locals like?
In a place called Safwan, they fucking hated us. Again, they'd wait for us to come, and they just fucking brick us and chuck stones out.
Which is weird. The first time I drove through Safwan, they couldn't wait to fucking see us.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a border crossing for Optelic. You know, we went through there, and they were like, everyone was waving at us and fucking throwing fucking like, I wouldn't say throwing flowers, but not far off it. They couldn't wait to see us.
No.
And then all of a sudden it just changed. They hated us. Like, what the fuck have I done? Apart from invade your country and kill half the people, you know. But that's another story.
Potential illegal invasion, but that's over my.
I
was still at school when that happened. Like, I can't be held accountable for that.
I was just doing what I was told. Fucking hell. Didn't a lot of people in 1945 say that as well?
Yeah. So yeah, come back from Iraq. The squadron got split up. So all my mates have been moved. I got left in D squadron. I was one of the few that was left in D. Then started the cycle again, training for tank rangers. Went back to Batters. Then promoted to Lance Jack. Then started training for Operation Herrick, Afghanistan, which was Op Herrick 15. So I was part of the Warthog group, which was Viking, but then we became Warthog. Just because the Viking was taking an absolute hammering safety-wise. But, versatile vehicle, fucking go anywhere. Unbelievable vehicle for its adaptability and where it can go. It can swim. It's amphibious. And the Royal Marines were using that, the ASG group, and then they handed it over to the cavalry. And we then got the Warthog.
That's the Volvo thing, isn't it?
Like the articulated, articulated vehicle that they used a lot in the Arctic, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same BV206.
Yeah, BV206. Yeah, that's a variant of it.
We had we got trained on them because we were going down the Falklands for exercise sea trial.
Yeah,
right, and we had them up at Otterburn, and one of them broke down on a main road, right. And honestly, hand on my heart, I shit you not, right. The lad who broke down, he's like, "What shall I fucking do?" He says, "I'll tell you what, I'll ring the AA." And instead, he didn't have a number to ring any of the REME or anything like that. So he trundled along to a payphone, rang the AA. AA came out and they fucking fixed it. Because he had cover.
Incredible.
So, what make is it? It's a Volvo. All right then. Fucking hell. No, but yeah, they are cracking bits of kit. Like, I mean, they were then. I don't know, upgrading and stuff like that. I never went anywhere near them, so.
Yeah, so the Warthog was heavier, so it was amphibious. When it was the Bronco, it was an amphibious vehicle. Then we obviously beefed it up, put some armour on it, made it fucking fairly nails, and it lost its amphibious capability. Although we did try on numerous occasions to make it swim, my troop lost one of my good mates was commanding, and it fucking set off down the Arghandab. It's the funniest day of my life. I swear, it's still the funniest day of my life. I stood on that riverbank and I was on my knees just laughing. It's this fucking warthog just like floating down the river like this. I was in bed. And then one of the other full screws come down. He saw me laughing and he couldn't. He just like pissing himself. Like he's leaning against my vehicle laughing. The boss is going absolutely fucking mental at it. It's like, it's not funny, and it fucking is funny.
It is.
It's fucking funny. So yeah, we did all the training on the Warthog, and then deployed out to Herrick in the October 2011. Again, we came under the R-Star group, which made it really interesting. So there was us, Brigade Reconnaissance Force. We worked together a lot, and then like splinters of the SF and stuff. So it was like a really interesting job out on tour. It was fucking busy. Like we didn't stop. Post tour, one of the guys had worked out for every 4 days. We were on patrol for 3 of them. And the vehicles were just getting fucking hammered. Like the maintenance we're having to do on them to keep them going. But yeah, it's really life-changing tour. Like no two ways about it.
You were doing the job that you were trained for.
Yeah, like as a cavalryman, to live on your vehicle, it's fucking amazing. Like you look at like the long range, and I'm not comparing what them boys did in the 40s in North Africa, what the Desert Rats were up to in long range desert patrols and stuff. But a lot of them were cavalrymen and tankers and stuff. There is a difference between tankers and cavalrymen, and we're quite precious about it. But yeah, to deploy on your vehicle and then deploy for 6 weeks and be self-sustained, fucking love it. Like that was everything. I was like, this is it. Like it is not going to get any better than this. This is all the books you ever read about tanks and cavalry and stuff like it is being self-sufficient on your vehicles, etc. And yeah, I was like, this is fucking the life. Like, love it. I absolutely loved it. But really busy. Rough at times. Yeah. Like I say, life-changing. There's not a fucking day goes by where Afghanistan doesn't go through my fucking minute brain. Iraq sort of like stays in its box. It's put to bed the majority of it, but Afghanistan, I don't know what it is. It's like almost a love-hate relationship. I'm sympathetic towards it. I want it to prosper. I don't know. I just feel I invested more into Afghanistan, and
well, I suppose if you have a negative, if you have a negative experience of a place like you did in Iraq, where you're probably getting tret, as you probably shouldn't have been getting tret, and it was boring, like you say, and then you're out there doing what you think's a better job in Afghan. I mean, I know my favourite tours have always been Bosnia because we were doing shit. Yeah. Especially in '95, I mean, spent a lot of time, to be honest, spent a lot of it drunk, but fucking, that's the way it was. But you've seen things I'd never see and things I'd never want to see again.
Yeah.
You experience things that I'd never experienced, and again, I never want to experience again.
Yeah.
But it's part of my life. It's part of my psyche now, and I always go back to it, and it's my ghost in a way, if you know what I mean. Like we were talking earlier about like going back to visit places and stuff like that, and that's one of them for me. I mean, did Afghan get a bit hairy for you, or?
Yeah, it did get hairy at times. Again, nowhere near as bad as what the boys had in 2006 or anything like that. But we were having brushes with IEDs. The first patrol we went on, lad hit an IED. We were lucky; it was a partial dead, didn't go off properly, and it was just like a baptism of fire of fuck me, like we're here. It's true what they said about this place. They weren't fucking bullshitting on the pamphlets and stuff like that. One thing that always did fucking get me when I love the mountains and I love the outdoors now. But the natural beauty of Afghanistan is fucking incredible. And I read a lot about it. I was just invested in it. I don't know what it was. Read a lot on its history, realised how complex it was. Had a pretty good understanding before I even deployed that fucking I ain't going to change the world here. This is so deeply rooted.
Fucking hell, the Brits have had 3 goes at it and never fucking succeeded on. So
And you're looking at the mountains around you and you're thinking, fuck me, like, this is incredible. Like, the stories this place must tell. And again, the graveyard of empires, as it's infamously known.
I mean, it's annoying that the way it's ended. The way it ended. It ended with such a whimper and just, well, what was the fucking point of us being there if you're just letting them all take back over again? And it's not for it's not it's well above our pay scale, but it just feels such a waste. That all their lives lost on both sides. And I know lots of guys who've served over there and spoke to lots of guys, and they all said the same thing, type of that. They had respect for the Taliban because they were brave fighters. And as much as we all call them Terry Taliban and stuff like that, and fucking the other names that I won't go into, but there was a lot of respect for that. You still wanted to kill them because they were trying to want to kill you, but that was your job, and that's what you're trying to do. We're not Salvation Army, we're the fucking British Army.
Yeah.
Oh
no, I've got a lot of respect for him. As a fighting force, definitely.
Yeah.
To come out every day and take on the might of the British Army, the US Army, the Danes that were in our AO, we had the Estonians in the AO, and they just kept fucking turning up, and they kept giving us bloody noses. Some days we could give them a bloody nose, but they'd fucking always pick themselves up off the canvas somehow. Even when you think, that's them fucking done now, they come back again and you think, just fuck off. just
fuck off. I want a sunbathe.
Yeah.
Fuck off. But you're right. I mean, it's like you've got to have the respect for the enemy. But you don't have to agree with what they believe in.
No.
It's like, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Bill Bailey who was on about the Taliban. He said, the finest minds of the 14th century, which I thought was brilliant. That type of thing.
Yeah.
But whatever, whatever your political views, wherever they're, religious views and stuff like that, you can't knock them. We used to almost say the same thing about the IRA back in the day, that you hate them. Fucking hell, we do. I don't give a shit what anyone says. We fucking hated them. We were there. If we could have, I want to fucking. I'll get warmed up. I'm not. But you still had a bit of respect for them.
Yeah.
Until you got to know the story a bit more, and then you thought, you just fucking thugs. You just fucking gangsters. You know what I mean? That's where I ended up there. It wasn't the freedom fighters and stuff like that. Whereas with the Taliban, they are thugs or whatever you want to call them. But they were there to try and push us out of their country. We were an invading force in the end.
Yeah.
As much as the good that we were doing, as the nations that were there, trying to bring democracy to the country and stuff like that. Places like that don't want democracy.
No.
As much as we think they do, they fucking don't.
They certainly don't want it from the fucking West either, especially America. And again, like you look into that and you think, I was 11 years old when 9/11 happened, and then I found myself in Afghanistan 10 years later. Like, the fuck has gone on here? And you look at without going down a conspiracy fucking roads that 9/11 fucking takes you down and stuff like that, and you think, but if 9/11 was plotted by a lot of Saudis and Bin Laden, and I know Bush said in the end, oh well, Bin Laden's in Afghanistan, the Taliban are harbouring him and stuff. You think, why the fuck did we end up in a 20-odd year war in Afghanistan? Like, I mean, when I try and piece the puzzles together, I'm like, how the fuck did we actually end up there? I mean, for me, when I look at it, like for the life experience, this is really selfish of me, and again, my selfishness comes at a cost of a lot of fucking lives. And, I wanted to do Afghanistan, so I never left after Iraq. I wanted to do Afghanistan. And it gave me an experience. I experienced war, and I'm not glorifying war in any way because I am completely the other way now. I'm out of the army. Like, I'm done with war. I want peace because I've seen the suffering it brings after, and nobody actually fucking wins. that to be in a firefight, it gave me a drug that I would never be able to get again. And it gave me an experience I've never been able to replicate. I fucking tried in numerous ways, and I can't get it. And would I go back, even though now I don't believe in the war? If you said to me, you're going back with your troop, I'd fucking pack my bags tomorrow. And I'd go back out.
Really?
Yeah. To experience what I experienced last time, even though it's fucking consumed me and nearly killed me after,
It's a drug. You know, it's the endorphins, it's the adrenaline.
Yeah, I imagine, I've never had heroin, but I imagine when a heroin addict is trying to withdraw and they got offered that one last hit, they know it could kill them, but they're going to take it because they know how they're going to feel. And that's how I sort of feel with Afghanistan. That's how I've described it a lot through my counselling, is I feel like a junkie craving that feeling, that adrenaline rush. I crave it, but I can never replicate it. And I've sort of had to like get to a peace level with that to let it go. And again, like I'm not glorifying war at all. That's not what I'm trying to do.
I mean, you're the first guy I've had on the podcast who's, you know, gone or spoke. I wouldn't say gone through that experience, but spoke of it in that way, and that, you know, it's a drug. I mean, I know guys who put me. I know one lad. He did 22 years in the army, and he got out and then joined the RAF. And anyone who's listening to this who knows me knows who he is. I won't mention his name, but they know who he is. So, and he basically got out of the army as a sergeant major, 22 years. Literally, next day went and joined the RAF as an officer. Went back, went and done his officer training, and just so he could go back out to Afghan and do fucking FSCs and stuff like that. Crazy as fuck. But that was you need that adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Certain people, I'm glad that I've never experienced the need for that, because it doesn't sound as though. I think you're going to tell us very soon the downside of that and what it can do to you.
Yeah, it's again, like when did I know things were fucking wrong? Well, I remember getting into a contact in a village called Yakshow, and I remember looking down my gympie, and we're listening to him on the Icon radio, listening to the Taliban talk about us. And then, I mean, you hear him talk all the time, like, oh, we're going to fucking nail them. And then they never do, and you're like, you're full of shit. And you get complacent. British squaddies are fucking horrific for getting complacent. Like, it's probably why they don't let us get bored, because we get bored and then we start like
doing stupid things,
stupid shit, finding camel spiders and stuff like that. And
I remember done that.
Yeah, and I remember getting into the. Well, I remember him saying that counting down 5, 4, 3 in Pashtun. Well, I remember the interpreter saying 5, 4, 3. Then it was silent. And then I remember seeing this black dot come through the air. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Went over my head. I like ducked. I was like, fucking hell, what was that? And then behind me was another vehicle. It was the Remy vehicle, because we had a recovery variant. And an RPG airburst over the top of him. I was like, fucking hell, we're in contact. I remember cocking the gympie, and I could see a guy in a black dish dash, like running around this compound wall. And I remember just being so calm. And literally, time, when people say, oh, time slows down, you think, time can't slow down. Time is time. Like, a second is a second. Like, you don't feel a millisecond, etc. And time literally slowed down. It was fucking surreal. And I remember like getting into the contact, and it was the closest I'd been in a couple of scrapes, but nothing major. But this contact was fucking close, and I could see it hitting the vehicle, and I could see I was being targeted. And we had a CVRT behind us from the Queen's Dragoon Guards. I remember screaming, like, get a fucking 30 mil off, get a 30 mil off. Because these fucking rounds were peppering me. And I just remember looking down the sight, putting my cheek into the gympie and pulling the trigger. And literally just watching the cocking handle just as if it was in slow motion, just going and just listening to the rhythm of the gun to know when to stop a ranging burst and go into the killing burst, etc. And it was just like listening to music. And the contact probably went on, fucking out, felt like forever, but probably 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Managed to get enough rounds down and suppressing fire. The CVRT never got any rounds off, which I was fucking livid about. I turned around screaming like, fucking get a fucking round off. Thinking if we get 30 mil off, this will fucking finish this. And anyway, the contact ended. And I remember like getting out the vehicle, and the lads had managed to get in the back of the walk because we used to like park in a triangle to like give us an all-round defence. And the back of the vehicles were open, and fucking rounds had peppered it, and there was like shells, like brass cases everywhere where the rounds had it. And I've still got a round upstairs that had hit the vehicle that day. It's just in a drawer. Like, when I come back, I was like, I'll have this on the wall, but I just never have. It's just in a drawer. It's been put to bed. It has been put to bed now. So yeah, again, like I say, that experience, you're like a junkie, like the adrenaline. I remember the adrenaline. I just like, fuck me, like I'm alive. Like I can never be more alive than this because I've just brushed with death, etc. So yeah, our boss got smashed right in front of us. Survived. He was a fucking good guy as well. Had a few teething issues with him. Arrogant young two-pip at Sandhurst, know everything, as they do. And we managed to fucking break through with him, and it became a fucking great troop leader. We were on the high ground up at PV Rahim, and a lad had been shot in the head, and my vehicle was the ambulance variant. And I remember coming over the net, 24 Bravo, make your way to such a location, and bring other vehicles with you as so we were like travelling in 3s and 4s. And I remember looking at my map, thinking, well, I've heard the 9-liner go in, so we're going to have wheels up here. Wheels will be up at Bastion. By the time I fucking got to him, the Merc's going to be inbound. This is fucking stupid. And I remember pulling up next to my boss. I said, boss, I was like, this don't fucking make sense. I was like, the 9-liner's gone in. The Merc's going to be inbound. Why the fuck are we leaving the high ground? It's fucking ridiculous. And I remember him saying to me, Ours not the reason why, Ted. Ours not the reason why. For fuck's sake. Anyway, we set off, bombing down into the green zone. We went past these nomads on the right side. And I remember, like, put my hand up to them. Sometimes you got a fucking reaction off them, like a hand back. Sometimes you fucking didn't. I remember these just staring us out. I was like, oh, you fucking miserable pricks, whatever. Dropped down into the green zone. This lad, it hit his helmet. He was still alive. He was walking wounded, so he was moving. Literally dropped into the green zone. We were about to cross a brook through this tree line into where 5 rifles, I believe. Anyway, the Merc's fucking inbound. You can hear it. You've got eyes on it. And I remember fucking looking at the boss and sticking my hands in the air like, what the fuck? Like, fucking livid. Like, why the fuck are we moving? Anyway, we spun back round and got on the net, and the boss, 2-0, was like, right, make our way back up to the high ground. And I remember like there was like this fucking ground. I was the 3rd vehicle at this point. And the ground, it was like a sinkhole. So the 2 warthogs had gone through it, and the ground had just opened up. I was like, I fucking can't get through there. So I said to my driver, Steve, was like, right, we need to peel around a bit, and the fucking ground was dodgy. And we ended up getting a bit bogged in. I hold my hands up, we did get a bit bogged in. And managed to get ourselves out and got through. And I remember going up past the nomads again, sticking my hand up, and again, they just stared us out. And then we came to a bit of like a choke point, really. and you could see our old tracks, and you're thinking, well, we've not been out the tracks long. They'll be all right. They'll be fine. And I would have done the same. I'm not saying the boss got anything wrong that day, because he didn't. Apart from getting fucking blown up, which fucking ruined the day. But other than that, so my mate, who would have been 2-0 Charlie, I think he was. I was 2-4 Bravo, 2-0 Charlie. And 2-0 Bravo was the full through behind us. And then 2-0 Charlie and 2-0 came together. And the boss stopped to let 2-0 Charlie go, who was my one of my good friends. And then he stuck his finger up like that and like laughed at it. And then my mate like gave the boss the wanker sign. Because we built a really good rapport with him.
Yeah.
He was a fucking good guy. Led from the front, would lead patrols and get bollocked for it. Like, why are you pulling the vehicle? Because I'm not asking the lads to do something I won't do myself. And, you know, if you pulled up into a little harbour area, he'd stay on the gun, he'd stag on all fucking day. Like, boss, get down, like, you need to eat. Like, we need you to fucking be fresh so you can lead and stuff. And he'd be like, no, I'm staying on the gun. You lads get your heads down. And it was fucking brilliant like that. And all of that's like, just chuck us some scoff in. Anyway, 2-0 Charlie, 2-0 come head to head. The boss stuck his fingers up. 2-0 Charlie gave him the wanker sign. 2-0 led off. 2-0 Charlie slotted in behind, and then it was me. And we're going along, and it was the old route into PB Armadillo, which is what the Danes. I think the Danes did a documentary on Armadillo, actually. And I just remember the fucking world going black. Just jet black in front of me. And I remember this fucking heat in my face. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I remember in that split second going, this is the most surreal visual I have ever seen. Like, amazing in reality. As this fucking debris is like hitting me. And I don't really know what's going on at this point. And then suddenly it just went boom as the blast fucking followed it. And I remember like putting my head down. I was thinking, what the fuck? Like, who's just what? Has someone just hit a fucking IED or what? What the fuck's going on? And I remember the dust settling and looking up, and I could see the vehicle in front of me. I was like, that's fine. It's not that one. And then I could see this warg, and it was like twisted. And I was like, it's the fucking boss. I can't see the boss. I can't see him. And then more than like as the dust settled even further, this body was like on the left-hand side of the vehicle, probably a good 30 metres away. And I thought, he's dead. Like, he ain't moving. He's fucking dead. So I shouted to Luke. I was like, fucking move forward, stay in the tracks. And he butted right up. And then I got on the net and just went, hello, 0, it's 2-4 Bravo, just contact IED. 2-0's been hit, wait out. And I'm pushed right up to 2-0 Bravo. And then I said to Steve, my driver, I was like, oh, vehicle's hit an IED, boss has been hit. Jumped out the top of the vehicle and then ran across Luke's vehicle, so I wasn't on the ground, ran across Luke's vehicle so I could get eyes on. And like the boss still wasn't moving at this point. His fucking jimpy's been bent. There's ammo everywhere. Like the debris of the vehicle's fucking everywhere. And suddenly I just saw him like move, like he moved his hand. And I was like screaming, I was like, boss, stay still. I don't fucking move. So I ran back to my vehicle because we had a medic in the back. Calling Popeye. Fucking really experienced medic, MRD from Optelic. He was working with the Staffords at the time. Really fucking good guy. And I got on the net, I was like, Popeye, like the boss at an IED. He don't look good. All limbs are there, but he ain't moving well. And I said, you need to get another lad in the back, try and keep names out of it, keep getting the other lad out of the back. You need to get a safe lane marked up so we can get to it. And I was like, I don't know if there's any secondaries anywhere. So I was like running across the top of the vehicle so I could fucking keep my feet off the ground. And then I dropped, in the end, I climbed down the side of the bar and jumped to the boss. And I was like, are you all right? And he was like, blood pissing from his mouth. And he just said, "What's happened? What's happened?" I was like, "You've hit an IED. You're going to be all right." And he'd been hit by a taxi years ago, and he got a big fucking scar down his head, like Harry Potter. And the scar had opened up, and he got like his head was bleeding. And as he looked at me, and he said again, "Ted, what's just happened?" And I just went, "You look a right cunt." To try and like defuse the situation.
Yeah.
Anyway, the safe lane, they got up to me, the safe lane. Handed over to Popeye to start doing his wizardry on him. And then it's like, well, we've got a fucking driver in that vehicle, and we've got a terp in the vehicle. So managed to get back to the vehicle. I climbed up the top and dropped into the top cover, dropped through the hatch there. Dan was there, but his door was off. He couldn't move. And our interpreter was there. And I said, like, "Are you all right?" to the terp. And he just went, "The Taliban are so motherfuckers. This is the third time I've been fucking blown up." And I was like, "Mate,
Fucking hell.
you need to fucking retire. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, give this fucking job up."
Yeah. Or pick me lottery numbers for me.
Yeah. And I was like, "Can you move?" And he was a fucking big boy. And I was like, "I hope you can move, because I ain't fucking carrying you." And he's like, yeah. He was like pissing with blood on his head. So we got him out walking wounded. And I said to Dan, "Can you move the driver? Can you move?" "No, I'm not in a good way." So then I shouted back to my mate. I was like, we need to get him out. Managed to get him down the side of the vehicle. Again, he's a big lad. We got him to the back of my vehicle. Then found out later he'd broken his back, but he's made a good recovery and stuff like that. The boss, medically discharged. He was a good rugby player. Can't do any of that anymore. But making a good recovery. He's got a fucking good job in London and gone on to have kids.
A hell of a story.
Yeah. And it is a good guy. Still speak to him to this day. I just remember like lying there that night thinking, I couldn't get the thought in my head like, what the fuck did we do wrong? What did we do wrong and stuff like that? And like things happened then a bit further on in tour, but nothing like that was like my up close experience of the IEDs and the contacts in Yakshow. And I remember the end of tour coming round and sitting on the helipad at Fog Price and saying to my best mate, "I don't want to go home." And he said, "What do you mean you don't want to go home?" So I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. He's like, "What the fuck are you on about, you dickhead?" He's like, "We're going home." So I'm not ready to go home. I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. He goes, "Why do you want to stay here?" I was like, This is simple. Like, we've got no outside noise, no social media. We get up, we prepare the vehicles, we go on patrols, we stay out on the ground, we sleep on the ground, sleep under the stars. I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. And that's probably where I look and see where Afghanistan started going wrong for me on a personal level. On like the last day, I was like, I'm not ready to go home. I want to stay here. And I was like, and I look back and think, he's fucking stupid. Like, I look back at myself and think, he's stupid.
No, it's not.
But
that's a perfectly fucking normal thing.
I just wanted
exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I just wanted the simplicity. Did not want normal life. I did not want it at all. I was with, she was my fiance then, my ex-wife. And war was just simple to me at that point. It was, I could almost control what was going on around me. I had control of myself. Anyway, obviously we came back and...
Did you go through Cyprus to do the decompression?
Yeah, I went through Cyprus.
So I've spoke to quite a few people about that, and I've said, did it work? Was it worth it? And every one of them has said, no.
No.
It wasn't long enough.
It's not long enough.
The right type of thing.
You get, 36 hours? And you need a week minimum.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know how long you need. I saw something someone had said the other day about might have been Billy Billingham actually, and said that we should be sent on safaris because we act different around animals, and you know, it's true. Yeah, my journey with PTSD is very animal influenced. So yeah, I fully agree with that.
Well, you look at it, especially like things like Northern Ireland and even Iraq and places, Bosnia and all that. You know, we'd find stray dogs and we'd look after them.
Yeah.
You know, we'd kick fuck out of the enemy, kill them, fucking don't touch the dog.
I used to feed them in Afghan. I used to like feeding them ration packs, like getting the dog because I just needed to touch a dog. It just does something to it. Still does something to me now. If I touch a dog, I just like relax. And so came back from Afghanistan, went to South Africa on adventure training. Fuck knows how I managed to fucking con my way into that one, blank my way into that one, but went on a safari. Saw some elephants.
So you got it in the end anyway.
Got it in the end, yeah. Saw some elephants. I was like, this is fucking amazing. Like, I just knew I was not. Wow. Should have. Well, I didn't know I was ill at the time, but I knew things weren't right. I was like, went to South Africa. I was like, I'm moving out of here. Started looking at house in South Africa. Again, just impulsive actions, really impulsive. Just came back from South Africa, got roped into doing London 2012, the Olympics. Fucking the most expensive piss up I've ever been on. Being in London every night, like, should we go out? Yeah. Should we go out? Yeah. And then you saying to my best mate, like, mate, I'm fucking skint. Like, I've blown so much money on the piss in London. That was a good experience, to be fair. And we moan like fuck. You know what squad is like. We moan like fuck when we got told we were going to London. It's like, fuck, you know. But I hate London. I don't enjoy London at all. But that was just a different experience. And for the first time, we're actually like treated quite well, apart from the locals where we're all based. They didn't like us at all. Quite a, how can I say this? Getting cancelled and shut down. Cosmopolitan.
I don't want to get cancelled yet, so I've just started.
A cosmopolitan area.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from, and so does everybody else who's listening to this.
Yeah,
and yeah, you're right. But you look back at like, and again, I'm not leftist, I'm not rightist, I'm quite a centralist, and I had this conversation with Sophie last night. I asked her a question about, have you, as a military wife, felt as though the public, or in any time since you've been married, that as soon as they found out you were attached to the army, like you're a military wife, that you felt as though, I wouldn't say be degraded, but looked down on, and I've had experiences, and I imagine you have as well, and you've just touched on it there, where because you're in the military, civvies almost treat you like a third-class citizen.
Yeah.
There's difficulties and stuff like that of being in the military. And in certain areas, we can be quite unwelcomed, I think is the wrong word. But I'm trying to be diplomatic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So we were getting off the overground and being spat at, and they were waiting for us, pulling knives on us and shit like that. But the cabbies in that were fucking amazing. Like, they'd take us places and go, not charging you lads, like, don't worry about it. And like, we got really looked after like that. And then I got to a point in my career, I was like, where am I going here? I've done Iraq, I've done Afghan. When I joined the army, Iraq and Afghan were the only operations going. What do I want to do? Like, where do I want to go with my career? I was getting disillusioned. I was getting pressure from the outside, from my fiance, like, I want you to come home, as a lot of people do. I just couldn't see myself doing 22 years in the QRH. I was getting disgruntled. A few dodgy leadership decisions were going on in like certain aspects, as they probably do in every regiment. I'm not going to call the regiment at all. And I was like, I think I'm ready to go. But I wasn't 100%. And then my ex-missus is really fucking putting the back burners on now, like, you're leaving. I didn't have a plan. So I signed off. And I look back and think, I got that one wrong. Definitely got that one wrong. I would have always have left before my 22. I wasn't ready at that point. I probably should have transferred, in all honesty. I probably should have gone. I'd been looking at the veterinary corps, looking at the dog handlers, and then they just kept saying to me, the regiment kept saying, well, they're at Senelager, there's likelihood you're going to end up in fucking Germany again. Because I was saying I want to go back to the UK. So I ended up signing off because I just couldn't come to broker a peace deal with the regiment where all parties were happy. So I bit the bullet, spat the dummy out. I was like, yeah, I'm done. Get me out.
Did you find then because I mean, again, I did 27 years in the end, and I wasn't fucking ready to leave. I'm still not ready to leave, and I've been out all year. The transition from being military into civvy is quite hard. Did you find that the regiment helped you do that, or did they wash their hands of you and not just go, right, fucking you're off? Because we're all guilty of that at some point. Somebody has signed off.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it. I worked in the RCMO's office for 6 years, basically, and I'd see it all the time. People would come in and sign off, and they were just right, fucking nothing for him. No favours or anything. He's fucking leaving the army. He's doing it for himself. Yeah, but he's doing it for himself because it's his life, type of thing. But they would get treated like shit. It happens.
I mean, there was a huge influx post-Afghan, huge influx of people signing off.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people had a similar view of, well, I've done Afghanistan. Like, it's never gonna get that hard ever again.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that disrespectfully to operations that have gone on now.
No, but you're right. You've done your pinnacle.
Yeah. I've climbed my
You've
Everest.
done, and you, like you say, you're never going to meet its equal.
No.
And the only way above that is fucking hell. I mean, mind you, Putin's fucking, he fucking might be. You never know. But you're right. It's like you've reached that plateau, and there's no. You're at the top of Everest. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And the only way is either down or somewhere new.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to go somewhere new, because if you go down, you're going to sink.
Yeah. So I got out, did my full 12 months and that, got out. Resettlement, I did my digger tickets, did 360 excavator, because, again, I had no plan. And I was sat in the tank park thinking, what the fuck am I going to do for resettlement? I ain't got a clue.
I've got H license.
Yeah, well, that's what I did. I looked across, saw the Charlie, and I was like, Challenger 2s have got tracks, and diggers have got tracks. I'm going to be a digger driver. That's what I'm going to do. And that is literally how I fucking did it. Just an impulsive fucking idiot that I am. So then did my digger tickets. Went up to Glasgow for that. Again, just 4 weeks on the piss. Just not transitioning to civilry at all. Just I go on a course. I'm on the piss. Did my digger tickets. Got out. And went driving for a local company around me that's huge, big yellow machines, got 3 letters on it. It was a testing quarry. So we were like writing reviews on the machines and stuff like that. And again, I was just like this 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, earning good money, earning fucking really good money. I was just never at home. And I was thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? My then fiance, then wife, her friend had come back from the ski slopes, so she was on the piss with her. I was trying to transition into Civvy Street. I had fucking no idea what was going on. Completely rabbit in the headlights. Didn't take any time out. And I was only saying the other day to my partner now, like, I should have taken a year out. I should have left the army, taken a year out to decompress the 8 years before me. and try and get my head around Afghan and stuff like that. I should have. It's all hindsight. It's just all hindsight. I should have like slowed everything down, but I didn't. And I knew in that first 4 weeks of Civvy Street that my relationship was pretty broken with my who would become my wife. But again, stubborn old me just kept chipping away, and we suddenly found ourselves to a point where, ended up getting married. But I knew things were really wrong. I tried for the ambulance service. I'd passed every course I'd ever been on in the army. I'd never really had failure. Even when the boss had got hit, even though the patrol had gone wrong, we did everything right to get him out there. So, was it a failure? No, not real. Not what I deem a failure. Not a personal failure. So I went for this job in the ambulance service. Got down to the final interview, and I remember the woman going in before me. And I remember talking to her. She's like, "Oh, I used to be an ambulance technician. I'm fully qualified, blues and twos." It just got in my head, and I was thinking, well, I can't compete with her. Like, she's already fucking trained up. So I went into the interview, and I fucked it up. The old man's I fucked it up so bad. And I know I fucked it, and went back to work.
So you'd literally destroyed yourself before you went in there?
Yeah. So I'd started getting this, like, I didn't know what it was at the time. It's anxiety and this imposter syndrome that I still get now. And I just self-combusted. I just imploded. Fuck the interview. I couldn't really even speak in the interview. Went back to work. Got a phone call a couple of days. Went back driving diggers. Phone call, yeah, you've been unsuccessful. I'd never been told in my life I'd been unsuccessful until I was 24. And I had no idea how to cope with it. So I just felt like I'd let everyone down. And then I just went into this, now I know what it is, like this deep, dark depression, which I never really got out of. So that'd be 24, 25, 26. I'm just...
you got out at 24.
Yeah.
That's still fucking young.
Oh, yeah.
When you're 24, it doesn't feel it. No. I'm 56 now.
Yeah.
And 24 is very young.
Yeah.
And you've been through so much. And, that you grow up, you join the army, then you grow up.
Yeah.
Because you don't grow up until you've left school and fucking become a man type of thing. You've gone from fucking zero to hero.
Yeah.
In such a short time and done so much. Even if it was the boredom in Iraq and stuff like that, you're fucking driving tanks or whatever. Just being in uniform, and it fucking takes it out of you.
Yeah.
It either makes you or breaks you. And in the end, what I've found, when I went for my counselling, I spoke to the doctor the first time, I looked at her and I said, yeah, when we leave, I was in the army and we're all fucked. And she just laughed at me and she went, yeah, you're all fucked. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But in different in different degrees, not everyone's got issues when they leave the military. They might have them later. That's what happened to me. But you've got to get you transitioning into Civvy Street. You've gone through such a fucking change that it's bound to affect you. So no wonder you fucking went under.
Yes, yeah. So like 25, 26, I don't really remember much of them. Drinking a lot. Ended up, and I couldn't sleep, so I started self-medicating. Managed to, a friend was taking, what were they called? Well, the Americans call them benzos, don't they? So I was buying benzos to sleep, and I'd take one, it'd make me sleep. Then the next night I won't take any, I'd be wide awake. If I take one of them, I'll go to sleep. And I got that exhausted. I was taking them because I was fucking desperate to sleep. Then one night, I fucking took two because I couldn't sleep. So I took one, couldn't sleep, so I took another one. Fucking knocked me out for hours. But I was hiding it. So nobody fucking knew I was doing this to try and sleep. And I knew, like, Afghan was going through my head all the time. my childhood was going through my head all the time. And the army was going through my head all the time. And I knew my relationship wasn't good. And I'd reached a point where the fucking damn wall was breaching and I couldn't hold it in anymore. And then I'd be 27. I was 27, definitely. And I remember saying to my missus, I'm not good. We just sat there watching television, just said, I'm not good. I said, what do you mean you're not fucking good? I said, I need help. I'm not good at all. I said, what do you mean? What are you on about? And for the first time in 11 years, I just fucking cried. I just couldn't, just everything come out. I was sobbing. And then I was like, I've been taking benzos. I've been taking cocaine to try and because I felt shit. I was taking coke to try and fucking lift myself up. I was fucking drinking a lot. I was going out playing rugby. The rest of the lads would go home after a part. I'd end up on a fucking all-nighter on my own. And it was coming from lads, young lads, meaning nothing by it, asking me questions on Afghan, which they're just interested, they're just intrigued. And I found myself talking about Afghan, which was all right, and then they go home. Then it was just me in a pint glass thinking about Afghan. So I was fucking drinking more to try and get rid of it, sticking more shit up my nose, taking more fucking sleeping tablets. And I just got into a fucking mess. Anyway, I opened up to my missus, told her what was going on, and she fucking said I was mental. Took my dog, which I had a beagle who I fucking adore. Like, she was a massive part of my recovery. So I was like left in the house alone. I was like, oh, that's fucking gone down well. I'll get 3 grams of fucking coke out. So that's what I did. I got 3 grams of cocaine out, put it on the table, and fucking snorted it all because I'm a fucking idiot, thinking it was going to make me feel better. Lo and behold, it didn't make me feel fucking shit. And then I remember, I didn't go to work the next day. I didn't go to work for a couple of days. And my boss at the time, I used to play cricket with. I played cricket with him from a really young age. He saw me grow up as a kid. I had a good relationship with him. He was trying to get in contact with me, answer the phones. He knew something was wrong. And I was like, I'm all right, everything's fine.
That famous sentence.
Yeah. Never got in touch with my missus. Like, she'd left, and I think she thought I was going to chase her, and I didn't. So it was just like, fuck yeah, I'll do it on my own. And then I did actually reach out to the Legion and said, this is what's going on. And I remember saying at the end of the phone call, like, just please help me. I'm not in a good way. I didn't get an appointment for about 6 months. Sold. At that time, the missus come back, sort of like patched up again, which we shouldn't have done, which we'll probably both agree to now if you ever got us in the same room, if you're ever that lucky, which more chance of fucking an Israeli and a Palestinian being sat together, I think. Yeah, so she said she wanted to move house, try and start fresh. So, reluctant like a fucking idiot, agreed to sell my house. That was my house. Sold the house. Moved into one of her extended family's places. They had a cottage, or renting the cottage out in the countryside. And I went out a clay pigeon trap. They had a clay pigeon trap. And I'd never had fucking hands on a gun ever since I left the army. Fucking around with a shotgun. And I remember the smell in my nose. Like when a cartoon's drawn of a great white shark smelling like blood. That's what it felt like. When it hit my nose, I was like, fucking hell, wow. Like gunpowder again. And I asked where the shotguns were kept. In my head, I'd now premeditated. I knew what I was going to do. And I knew I was out. They told me where the shotguns were. I had no reason not to tell me. Trusted me. And one night, Mrs. Works in the health profession. She went out on a night shift. And I was like, I'm going to do it tonight. That's it. I'm checking out. I'm done. Went down to like, they had like this, the fucking most amazing man cave built on the side of the river on their land. So I'm going to sleep down there, which that family does through the summer and stuff. It's awesome down there. And packed my DOS bag, took the dog, my beagle, got my hands on the shotguns, got my hands on the ammunition, went down to this like little river hideaway, loaded the shotgun, and I remember like staring down the barrels, like looking at them both, and just like admiring the engineering, actually, in the manufacturing of a gun, in a shotgun. And I didn't have my hands on the trigger, but I was just like, I had it between my legs, and I was like looking down at it. And I wasn't crying or nothing like that. I was like quite at peace. And then my fucking beagle lit my face. And it was like, I don't know, when some trucks got water on you, you're like, fucking hell. And I just fucking bawled my eyes out. I absolutely cried my eyes out. I was like, somebody cares. Like, obviously, me and the missus have been through a rough patch. I didn't think she fucking cared. Obviously, she'd walked out. But my dog, whether she knew I was fucking hurting, whether it was just a normal fucking lick to the face, I don't know. But in that moment, it brought me back round. And I unloaded the shotgun, shut the fucking cartridges, and then got in with the Legion. Never told nobody about this incident. I was embarrassed that I'd gone to fucking shoot myself. But that night, Millie, my dog, had fucking basically pulled me out of the shit. So
you hit with that a lot, though, don't you? It happens more than you think.
Yeah. Because I used to go out walking with her when I was like struggling.
Yeah.
And I just fucking talked to the dog, and the dog's like, obviously don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But it was just allowing me to fucking offload. And then, managed to get in for a little bit of counselling. I remember just fucking crying. I couldn't really talk in my first ever counselling session. I just cried and cried. And then they said, like, we need to get you in to see somebody. Like, there's definitely something not quite right. Got transferred over to combat stress, and they diagnosed me with complex post-traumatic stress disorder, depression and anxiety. And then I was like, well, I remember sitting in this room in Telford, and there was like military doctors around me and stuff. And it was like sitting in a fucking interrogation cell, asking me all these questions about everything. I've told them everything that was going on. I'm quite honest about what was happening in my head. And obviously gave them a diagnosis and said, well, what do I do now? And they said, well, we don't know. Like, we'll give you a diagnosis. Like, we've done our bit. So then they stuck this label on me, and I'm left to fucking run around the streets. I'm like, well, what the fuck do I do? Well, I know I've got this now. And I look back and think, have I got post-traumatic? Yeah, well, there is post-traumatic stress definitely in there. But was it more loss of identity? I think there's a lot of that in it. Anyway, fucking private, like home life. The missus fell pregnant after my first session, just after my first session, which I was, I was over the moon with. I weren't really bothered whether I'd never really thought about kids. It was sort of pre-planned. We'd had the discussion. Well, she'd said like she wanted kids, and if I didn't, then that was sort of the end. She didn't get pregnant for a bit, and she said, if you're the issue, then we need to think about us. Which again, looking back, major red flag. Should have just gone fuck off. But I didn't, because I was vulnerable. I was fucked. I was absolutely fucked. I managed to stop using cocaine at this time. Fucking massively embarrassed by it, but it is what it is. It's by taking coke, I'm not fucking glorifying cocaine use in any way because it's fucking an awful drug. It made me talk because it gave me a confidence. So it made me actually say to somebody, this is what's going on in my head, and I don't think this is quite right.
That first step is the hardest.
Yeah.
It really is.
So, yeah, I managed to get myself off coke. Never touched it since. But I was still taking sleeping tablets, which were really difficult to kick. And I would never recommend anybody to take sleeping tablets because to get off them is fucking horrific. Eventually got off them. This would be... The coke could be Remembrance Weekend 2007 would be the last time I took it. Sleeping tablets, I couldn't give you a date. Daughter was born 1st of January 2018. New Year's Day, baby. And things were fucking amazing. Like, I actually felt settled. I'd married my fiance at the time, just before that. So she's now my wife. God, when you try and piece everything up, when you look back on things.
I know it's hard because when you,
I've
not gone through anywhere near like what you've gone through and what the guys have gone through. You know, I've gone through my own journey, whatever. But when you are trying to put a timeline on it, I keep thumping that mic. When you are trying to put a timeline on it, your brain just goes no, because your brain doesn't want to remember.
No.
And you're trying to pull it out of the fucking recesses of the back of your head, and your brain's going no,
yeah.
And you can't piece things linear, you know, in a timeline. It's fucking, your mind's a weird thing.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It really is.
So my recovery, counselling wasn't working. I was going to different people, trying counselling, and I'd come to a point where I realised I couldn't speak to somebody that hadn't ever been in the military. This wasn't an arrogance from me of, fuck you, you've never served. I just felt like I was explaining things and they were looking at me like an alien, like, oh, what the fuck you want about?
Yeah.
And because I was being really open about stuff and I was like really quite descriptive and vivid about what was happening in my head, however violent it was, however dark it was, and saying like, I don't want to be here, I want to die, and all this shit. And they were like trying to be like, oh wow, that's not the right view, Mark. Yeah, you need to be that. And trying to be pink and fluffy, cuddly and fluffy with me, it wasn't working. I needed somebody to sit there and go, right, stop being a prick, let's start sorting this shit out. And then a little charity found me. I don't know how. I was doing a lot of writing, a lot of posting on social media, doing a lot of poems, which, you know, I was approached by a publisher to take on my poems, and I was in such a fucking way. I just fucked him off. Just wasn't interested. Didn't want my work published. And I look back and think, yeah, you fucked that one up as well. So yeah, I fucked that off. Didn't want to speak to anybody. Didn't want fucking my work publishing. I still occasionally do the odd poem, and I was finding it like quite helpful to write it down. So I was using social media as an outlet, writing down what was going on through my head, how I was feeling, which probably...
It's a therapy. It's a writing therapy, isn't it? It's the way they treat some people.
Yeah. But obviously I was like pouring it out to the world in social media, which can be a dangerous place.
Yeah, it can be fucking toxic out there.
Oh, yeah. And then you had some people fucking calling me saying he's full of shit. And that was making me worse. I was like, I wish you could see into my head, because I fucking promise you, like, I don't want to feel like this, but this is how I feel. And some of my civvy mates were like, fucking hell, mate, like, you do not sound good. Like, you need to fucking sort this out. Some of my military mates didn't know what to do with me, because I was like probably the first out of definitely the first in the troop, probably the first out of our Herrick clock to come forward and go, my head ain't right. And I wasn't of the character when I was in to go, my mental health's not good. I'd have probably been one of them.
None of us were.
Yeah, probably been one of them where they'd have gone, he don't believe in mental health. He's like, hard, cold bastard. So yeah, this charity picked me up and they did something called EMDR therapy. And they tried to sell me this EMDR, and I was like, I'm not doing this hippie shit. Not a fucking chance am I even...
I'm laughing, right, because the amount of people who I've talked to on here, looking at it, have said them initials. And I'm just like, the first time I heard about it, I was like, it's what?
Yeah.
And a guy, it helped him that much that, I mean, his podcast's out in about 3 weeks' time. It helped him that much that he went to university and he's now a psychologist
Fucking hell.
because of it. You know what I mean? It was like, fucking hell. And I'd never heard of it before. But I mean, if you'd like to explain to people who are listening what it did for you and how it helped.
So, originally, like how it was born was some woman, I think, in New York watching trees or something, and the trees like moving, and they were watching it, and then they realised like it was doing stuff to the mind. And then in its infancy, somebody would hold a pen and like, I've got a pen here, and wave a pen like that, and like say, watch the pen, watch the pen. And when they were telling me this stuff, I was like, no, fuck you, you're wasting my time. Like, I need help now. Like, I ain't got time to be fucking around doing this. But for me, it was like on a bar, probably 12 inches long, that'd sit horizontally on, and they'd put on the wall, and this red light. Well, you could pick your colour of the light, just change it up, doesn't really matter what colour it is. And the light would go from one side to the other, different speeds, and like watch the light, and then it'd start like flickering. And then I also had these hand buzzers that vibrated in my hand, like, and they'd alternate. And anybody that's watching who knows about this, I'm not a professional, so I'm probably wrong in some of the things I'm about to say. Your mind, apparently, when your mind takes something in, it goes into the right-hand side of your mind. It's meant to digest into the left-hand side, and that's you processing it. But when you go through a traumatic event, sometimes it gets stuck. Sometimes, like with an IED strike, the IED goes off. You haven't got time to process that. You've got to deal with your casualty. You haven't got time to process the casualty because you're probably going to be in a contact. So you're trying to process that. You're trying to fucking deal with your section as well. So you've got all this shit going on, but you're not actually processing any of it. So it all gets trapped. So EMDR, when you're watching the light, for me, I had to go back to the bad memories, things that were like causing me the distress, and picture it and image it. So it's tough at first, and it can be fucking exhausting. And you're watching the light, and for me, like I could see it in full colour, the image. I could feel the heat. I could smell the smell. It was really weird. And then keep watching the light for sometimes up to an hour, and it allowed me to process it. And then the light would almost like crumble. The image, would almost go in black and white and like crumble away, like it, fucking as if it was made out of sand. It just crumbled, and it's like my mind like processing it. And sometimes I'd process it, but then it'd come back, and then I'd have to go back and hit it again. And eventually I got to a point where I sort of like was in control, really, of I'll say in control, sort of on top of things that were causing me post-traumatic stress, etc. So this will be 2017 when this all started. April 2017, started EMDR therapy. I never actually finished my treatment because of COVID, but I got to a point where I sort of like, I still have fucking days where things get me down, but got to a point where I could continue with life. 2018, daughter's born. End of 2017, married my wife. Daughter's born January 2018. Everything's fucking sound. Things were picking up. I'm writing a lot, doing a lot of poetry. Left my job, got another job. Actually felt quite settled for the first time in that long-term relationship. Felt loved at one point, which I'd never felt for a long time. Which people listen about, why are we in a relationship for 13 years? But when I spoke to counsellors, they put it down to childhood, because my childhood wasn't loving. I attached myself to something that I thought loved me when I was 19 with my partner. and thought that was love, and it wasn't. But I didn't know what was love and what wasn't love. 2019, got a job on the railway, Network Rail. Still work for Network Rail now. I'd stopped drinking, 2018. So stopped taking fucking drugs, 2017. Stopped taking cocaine, should I say, and sleeping tablets. 2018, I had a stinking hangover on Remembrance Day. Got absolutely slaughtered. England played New Zealand, and we lost 16-15. I remember that much. But I remember drinking Guinness that night, and I was flying through it. And I was like, I'm going to be in a fucking mess. But I fell in good form here. And then, obviously, we got talking. It was the Remembrance night, so we got talking about Afghan, and a lot of shit started coming back to me again. Again, the relationship is when I drink, I think about it. Realised at this point, I need to stop this. Like, this needs to stop. Woke up Remembrance Day, fucking so hungover, so bad. And then I'm just like, I'm done drinking. That's it. And my mate's like, yeah, fuck off, you'll be drinking again in 2 weeks. I said, I'm done. That's it, I'm done. And then never had a drop since then. I think it was November the 10th, 2018. Been teetotal since then.
You found that hard?
Or
do the benefits outweigh the...
Benefits outweigh, 100%. And do I miss getting bladdered? No, I don't. Do I miss a gin and tonic in the back garden in the summer? Yes, I fucking do. Do I miss a glass of red wine when I go out from there with my missus now? Yeah, I do. I do miss it. Like, I'm not going to say I don't, because I do. But it's just not worth. For me now, I just don't think it's worth me like, flirting with that mindset.
I understand that more than you'd think, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been teetotal since then.
Fucking hat off. I've got to take my hats off you for that.
Cheers, thank you.
You know what I mean? Cheers. It's fucking.
And I'm not anti-alcohol either. Like some people say.
No.
You fucking judge on people that drink. I'm not. I don't. What I am judgy about is you could go out and sniff a line of coke and you're like, oh, he's a fucking druggie, or you could go and smoke a spliff, oh, he's a pothead. You can buy a crate every night and nobody gives a fuck.
No, it's just
society, yeah. And I do think as human beings we have a bad relationship with alcohol, especially veterans, especially squaddies. Jesus.
We use it as a crutch. The drinking culture when I joined was, everything was awarded or rewarded. Sorry, not awarded. Yeah, you got awarded drink for a reward. As I understand it now, that's been stamped out in the military. And talking to some of the lads last weekend who were serving and that, there's no nappy bars, or very few of them left. The messes are all shut and stuff like that. That drinking culture's kind of gone. There's still like a fucking beer, still go on a piss and all that. Don't get me wrong. Squaddy's a fucking squaddy in the end.
Yeah.
But I don't think that massive drinking culture that used to be in the military years ago is there anymore, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many. I look at things in my life that I've done, and a lot of the bad things that have happened have been down to alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be personal or fucking career wise.
Yeah.
The few times that, sometimes when you think back, you think, how the fuck am I still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what I mean? And that was down to alcohol.
Yeah.
The daft things that you used to do, like fucking, I won't go in it. Climb down the outside of a hotel. Yeah. That seemed like a good idea at the time. Fucking, hanging off a bit of paracord that had been tied on the balcony. And I climbed down the outside of an hotel and split. Fucking... it was the thing to do. People trying to drag me back up. No, I'm all right. Fucking stupid twat. How I'm still here, I don't know. Fucking hell. Yeah. Good night, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, how are you now? I mean, you sound a lot better.
Yeah, well, I ended up going through a divorce 2000 and separated from my wife 2020, March 2020. Ended up, I knew from sort of the back end of 2019 I wasn't happy. I actually realised at this point this relationship isn't good. I had a daughter at this point with my wife. I was married. I was fucking up shit creek like a paddle. Ended up having my dog put down 2nd of January 2020. Fucking heartbroken, didn't know what the fuck to do.
I know that.
And I remember my wife saying, after a couple of days, I was still fucking crying, saying that you need to get over it. Just the dog. And at that point, I was like, this relationship's dead. This is fucking dead. Like, there's no way back. It's done. Didn't know how to get out of it. Fucked up. Well, I told her I wasn't happy. I left, went to family friend's house, came home, told him to come home. Got a daughter. You can't just walk out. Because I said I need time. I need space. And she says, you don't get space in a marriage. Okay. Came back.
I'm laughing because that's just bollocks.
Yeah. And then I fucked up then. Somebody showed me attention. Ended up messaging this girl. Fucked up bad. Got involved with this girl. Never had an affair. Fuck all like that. Well, I mean, fucking messaging is not fucking good. It's not good at all. I hold my hands up fucking wholeheartedly. Relationship breakdown, marriage breakdown. I'd gone from leaving the relationship saying I wasn't happy, going back to then completely fucking burning every fucking bridge of trust going by fucking up how I did. And yeah.
Did you not do that subconsciously though?
I mean, the counselling I've had before, like since, have said like, this is why you've done it. Which for a long time I rejected. I was like, no, I'm a bad person. I'm not a good person. I'm fucking a piece of shit, whatever. Anyway, I ended up splitting up, which was the right thing to do. Wasn't the right thing, how it happened, etc. Then what happened? My ex-wife then, when we first separated, it was share custody. We agreed share custody, 50-50. She then decided, with one of her friends, who's a fucking bellend that I hate, caused me a lot of shit, that I wasn't going to have any access at all now. So alienated me from my daughter. Then pursued the fucking court case to regain access to my daughter, which I then ended up getting arrested for an assault I didn't do, where her friend and her made up that I assaulted them. Went all the way, got charged, went all the way to court. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, I'm going to prison. I'm 6'2", 19 stone. I'm fucked. There, because I mean, my ex-wife's only 5'1". I was like, I'm fucked here. Plea bargain with me, take a guilty, £8 fine. Don't have to have the hearing, just get out of court. I said, no way. I said, I'm not done it. I'm not done it, and I'm not pleading guilty. My solicitor said, like, are you sure we can have this all done? I said to my solicitor, I'm paying you a lot of fucking money to be stood here. You don't want to represent me, fuck off, I'll do it myself. No, I do believe you, whatever. Got into court, fucking female judge, and I just said to my solicitor, I'm going to prison. This is it, I'm fucked. Because he said to me, if you get found guilty here, there's a good chance you get in 2 years. I was like, oh, fucking hell, like, I'm going to prison. It's a woman judge, she's going to fucking hate men. And he says, no, women judges now, women work. Like, tell them the truth, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. And I was found not guilty, which I'm not guilty. I would never fucking did it. But obviously it fueled the custody battle. So the custody case couldn't progress whilst the criminal case was ongoing. So I'm trying to regain access to my daughter, which, when we were together, I was a perfectly fine dad. I was alienated. She'd absolutely fucking maximised the child maintenance on me. So I was struggling to pay for a solicitor as well. I was trying to like pay for the house. I had £6 a week to live on. And I remember saying to the child maintenance service, like, you are fueling this behaviour. I've got £6 a week to live on. What do you want me to do? And they just went, sell your house. And I was like, fucking. And the amount of lads I've spoken to that have been through this as well, they've had the same. Anyway, like the court case was ongoing. Her solicitor, horrific human being, ended up getting shared custody in the end and lives with order, so regained access with my daughter. But whilst all that was obviously ongoing, the court case, I got to a point where obviously criminal case ongoing, court case, the family court case ongoing. I had another suicide attempt, so I just thought, how the fuck am I going to do this? There was plates spinning everywhere. So I took a 60 tablet overdose of antidepressants, which I was taking at the time, painkillers, sleeping tablets, which I've been stockpiling. What else was I taking? Opioids. I had a good go. And I remember my best mate was ringing me every night at the time. And he said to me that night, I was popping the tablets, I was talking to him. I knew I was going to do it. Like my first suicide attempt. Premeditated. I knew I was going to do it. Nothing would have stopped me that night. So, popped all the tablets out. He's talking to me and he goes, right, mate. He says, I need to put lad to bed. I'll ring you back in half hour. Yeah, mate. Yeah, son. No bother. Fucking put the phone down. I'd laid them all out in 3 ranks, and they were laid out as a platoon or a squadron would be laid out in 3 ranks, all in order. And I was taking it one by one. And I was like, this is going to fucking take forever. So I just fucking swept one to my hand, chucked him in my mouth, fucking took him. And I just lay down on my bed thinking, well, this is it really. Like, I'm cool with this. It didn't feel really anything. I'd wrote a suicide note to my daughter. Wrote a suicide note to my ex-wife. And then woke up 15 hours later, like the fucking sun hit me in the face, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, where am I? Like, because this looks like my fucking bedroom, and I ain't meant to be here. Picked up my phone, looked at my phone, I swallowed, first thing you're doing, I swallow. And obviously with all the tablets I'd taken, the coating had fucking stripped my throat, and it was agony. And I remember going, almost like trying to scream, because like my throat had been stripped. And then I looked at my phone, and I had fucking loads of missed calls off my best mate. And my boss had rang me as well, so not turning for work. I don't remember ringing my boss. Still to this day, I don't remember ringing him. And he goes, "Oh, you're all right." I couldn't really speak, and I just said, "Suicide attempt." And he goes, "Right, I'm coming to your house." I went, No. I was like, "I'll ring a doctor." I put the phone down. Never. I don't remember making that call to him. And then I rang my best mate again. Well, he rang me, and I answered the phone, and he just went fucking mental. He's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I couldn't speak, and he just went, "What have you done? What have you done?" And I served with him, my best mate. And he goes, "What the fuck have you done?" And then I just said, "I've taken an overdose." And he lived up in Manchester at the time. It took about 2 hours drive, to an hour and 45. And he was, "You fucking prick." He's like, "Stay where you fucking are. Do not leave that house. Do not leave the house." And he fucking drove down to me. And I remember ringing the doorbell. I answered the door to him. I just looked at him. And he just went, "Get the fuck out of my face before I fucking lay you out." So I shut the door on him, and I sat down on the sofa, and he went back to his car. Then he come back about half hour later after he'd like calmed down. He walked in the house, and he's just like, "What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?" Again, I didn't speak for ages, and he's just like, fucking speak to me. And I just said, like, I don't know. I was like, I just can't take it anymore. I can't do this anymore. And then I remember speaking to his wife, like, not long after, and she says, like, it really fucking hit him hard. And, you know, if I'd have been successful in what I'd set out to do, like, the effect it has on everyone else, and I'd never really seen suicide like that. Of how many people you fucking take down with you.
Yeah, but you're not going to think like that. I mean,
well, it's
I've lost friends to it, and it is the people who are left behind, it's devastating. But
Yeah.
people like you've gone through it. I mean, luckily I haven't. I've had some thoughts, but
Yeah.
I've never come close.
And I still have the occasional thought, but I quickly debunk it now. Like I'm at a stage in my life where I'm pretty fucking stable. I met my missus whilst I was going through the family court. She'd been through the family court at this point. She's divorced also. And it was fucking tough for her as well. Like she said, like she's reliving it, something that she's already gone through that phase, and it's hard to watch me go through it. And I wasn't a fucking nice person. I was so angry at the system and really struggling. And then whilst I was going through it, I found strongman, and I've always sort of trained. And one of my mates like, he did strongman. He's like, come and have a go at strongman. And I was like, I remember looking at these fucking Atlas stones, thinking, I can't fucking lift them. Mere mortals don't lift them. And he's like, just have a go. Like you'll love it. Like you'll be good at it and stuff. And I ended up like doing strongman, and I've done that for 3.5 years. And I've been lucky enough to stand on a few podiums, win a few competitions and stuff. And I compete at open level. I've sort of like got to my sort of peak amateur level. And since I've done strongman, I've not taken an antidepressant. It's just kept me on the straight and narrow. That's been my focus point. I've regained access with my daughter. So I've got her half the time, which interrupted the call earlier. She's upstairs shouting "Dad," and because her teddy's broke and all I was broke loose. Oh God! But yeah, so like I say, strongman's been a massive saviour of mine.
It's amazing the guys how many I've spoke to. Like, it's physical exercise that's brought them out of it.
Yeah,
Whether it's the endorphins in the body and stuff like that. There's a guy I interviewed called Tim Davies. Look him up on YouTube. He's ex-RAF. Honestly, look him up. He's quite entertaining. He's a hell of a guy. Very motivational.
Yeah.
He's that motivational. After I interviewed him, I went and done my dishes, which had been sat there for 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's the little things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he says, one of the things that keeps him going is he turned his garage into a gym.
Yeah.
And every time he feels as though, I mean, it's a bit of a cliched expression, but the black dog.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had someone on TikTok ask me if the black dog was like a ghost or something, or is it a real dog? If you don't know what we're talking about, you shouldn't be asking the question.
No.
And he says as soon as he's every morning gets up, he works out. Not massively. He's not there to build muscle or anything like that. He's just there to physical exercise helps. Going for a walk, whatever. And you found it through doing strongman.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. I wish I had the fucking energy. The motivation.
And I bumped into so many fucking veterans as well doing it. Like,
yeah.
And it's not about beating the other man. It's about beating yourself and nothing else. And I went through for a long time. I looked at strongman. I was punishing myself. Like when I was like exerting myself, it was a way of punishing myself. I had to be punished. My marriage had failed. I was failing on Civvy Street, and I just felt like I'd fucked up so many times. And I was like, right, you need to punish yourself. Whereas now I'm away from that, and my partner now, she's really supportive in that. And we have fireworks. I'm not going to say like any relationship. But when my marriage ended, I thought, well, that's that. I'm never going to fucking ever settle again. And now I've got a partner and two stepsons for the last 3.5 years, and yeah,
and things are looking up.
Say again, sorry, Frankie.
Things are looking up.
Yeah, things are positive. I volunteer with the mountain rescue as well, so I'm really fucking busy. I've got too much on, I'll be honest. I work full time. I run the house on my own. Go over to my missus's. Like she lives half far away, so I'm like between two houses. Got my daughter half the time, and then I volunteer with the mountain rescue. You probably hear it on the recording tonight. If you hear like a cavalry horn, there's been a mountain rescue call out tonight, but I'm on the phone call. I've got my daughter as well, so I can't go out. But That's rewarding for me as well. It's I'm not.
You're giving something back.
I'm giving something back. I'm not gonna get the Afghan drug that I craved. I've had to just park that as you're never going to get that ever again, and you need to accept that. So yeah, I'm out of the mountain rescue a lot. I train 3-4 times a week with strongman. Stable relationship, and things are. Me and my ex-wife didn't speak for a long time. Then my little one got sepsis, and we were sat in a fucking hospital room, sat opposite each other. We've not seen each other outside a fucking courtroom in years. And there was a few fucking words fired over the room, and things aren't perfect. I don't think they ever will be perfect. But we speak where my daughter's concerned, which is always important to me. That's all I ever wanted when we broke up.
I've been, I'm there myself, type of thing. We've never, there was no animosity when we broke up. It was just we just grew apart, and we'd been married 30 years, and we grew apart. That's how it goes. But we kept civil with each other, and we still are. And we got to because of the kids, and we brought grandkids up as well. So I've got one of them upstairs at the moment.
Yeah.
Little shit. The 15, mate. Christ.
Well, my daughter was 6, and the other day on the way to school, I could have pulled over and just gone, get out and walk. And she's only 6. I've not even breached the teenage years yet.
You fucking wait, mate.
I've got 2 younger brothers who've never had teenage girls. I've not got a fucking clue what I'm doing. I'm just
no. Oh no, honestly, you'll enjoy it. Right, Mark. It's been over 2 and a bit hours now. I think we've come to the end of that now. For now, I'm fucking astounded, basically, as I am with everybody's story I hear on the podcast. Really, you've been through fucking hell and back, really, with that, and it's nice to hear that you're not fully there, but you're 99% there. I'd say, and I don't think we'll ever ever be 100% ever again.
I had a day 2 days ago. Black Dog came to me, and I was just fucked right off.
Yeah.
And my missus is getting better. She sort of understands it. I mean, does Sivers ever understand PTSD with us lot? Probably not.
No.
I think we're fucking so complex, and I feel sorry for him. Really, I do for my ex-wife as well on occasions. Like, how the fuck do you deal with me? But I just said,
I get that.
Yeah, and I just said I'm not good, and she knows that I need space, and it's not personal.
No.
But it goes, and anybody that listens to this podcast, like, there's a way out. There's always a way out. Like, don't ever go down the road I went down of 2 suicide attempts, like fucking the stupidest idea I've ever had.
Well, I'm glad you failed.
Yeah.
I know too many people who didn't fail.
No, and I laugh at it now. I see the light in it and say I'm shit at suicide, so I'm giving it up. It's and that's how I look at it. And I just, like, as squaddies do, we have to laugh at these fucking situations. And
right. Well, thanks again for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure. Honestly, it has. This won't be out for quite a while, to be honest. It might not be out till after Christmas.
Yeah.
But I'll keep you up to date when it is. Right. I'll stop the recording now. Right, it's nearly. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I enjoyed recording it. If you could just hit the like button, and also if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell, that'd be great, because it'll help the channel grow. The more people will see it, the bigger it'll get, and the more guests I can get on, and the more people I can talk to. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, like I said. Look forward to the next one. Hopefully it'll be out next week as normal. Bye-bye now.